not want. In verdant pastures he gives me repose. Beside restful waters he leads me. He refreshes my soul. The Lord is my shepherd. There is nothing I shall want. He guides me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the dark valley, I fear no evil, for you are at my side, with your rod and your staff, that give me courage. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. You spread the table before me, in the sight of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. Only goodness and kindness follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for years to come. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. Lovely psalm. So I wanted to mention something about this psalm, which is the flow and the cadence at which you proceed with. You want to have it be relatively consistent until you get to the ends of phrases, and then it's okay to slow up a little bit. So the verses of these things, they're kind of disjointed because you're jumping from here to here to here to here, especially on verse 1. Verse 1 stops suddenly. Verse 2 skips a part and jumps to a further part. I think you know what I mean, and getting the roadmap is probably the most essential element that we need. So one thing I would recommend is simply reading the text and knowing where you're going at all times. So let's just do verse 1 and 2 for now. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. In verdant pastures he gives me repose. Beside restful waters he leads me. He refreshes my soul. Once you know where you're going, you can identify what the very last part of that text is, and you can slow that off a little bit so that the congregation knows we're going back to the refrain. So here's what I mean. Beside restful waters he leads me. He refreshes my soul. The Lord. So basically you're taking the verse and you're proclaiming it at a consistent speed, but then at the very end, I think it's okay to slow up a little bit in a psalm like this, which is irregular, so that the congregation knows what's coming next. Let's check out verse 2. He guides me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the dark valley, I fear no evil. Keep it going. For you are at my side, with your rod and your staff. You can slow here if you want. That give me courage. It's almost like you're holding the emphasis until the very last part. That gives me courage. And you're emphasizing the end by slowing up just a hair. Now, if I'm going too fast for you in proclaiming the text, I understand. I kind of do go a little bit fast with these. There's plenty of cantors, probably 80% will go slower than what I'm doing here. So your speed may be a little bit different, but the point is you keep a regular cadence until you're ending, and then you could emphasize or slow up a little bit so that the congregation knows you're at the end of one of the verses. Now the same thing goes for the refrain. Let's say we do the refrain 5 times. you want the tempo to be relatively consistent until the last verse when you could potentially slow down a little bit. Okay? All right. If that was helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. That would be super helpful. You can also check out the 3-day workshop for Cantors, which is in the description below. In that workshop, we talk about breath support. We also talk about English diction, and we talk about proclaiming the meaning of the text by the way that you're cantoring. Another great resource for you is I have a training video about how to get your congregation to sing better. It's something that we all think about, but we're not sure exactly how to do it. So I have 10 proven strategies to get your congregation singing better, also in the description below. So let's practice this psalm. We'll do the refrain one time at the beginning, and then we'll play through the entire thing with you singing. I'll be at the piano. I hope you have a great weekend, and if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. It would be helpful to know that you're here. Have a good weekend.